Most New York City luxury buyers lose $500,000 plus the day they close, and they don't even know it. Now, it's not just about overpaying here in New York City, although it's kind of par for the course. This $500,000 loss has to do with three critical mistakes that I have seen over and over and over again. Obviously not with our 200 plus transactions because we guide people properly. But today, I would like to share these mistakes with you so that you know how to avoid them. Here's what most people don't understand about luxury New York City real estate. It's not just expensive. It's an entirely different ecosystem with its own rules, networks, and insider dynamics. The luxury condo market in New York City operates on three different levels. First is going to be the visible market, right? What you see online. Zillow, Street Easy if you're a New Yorker. Public listings probably represents about 60% of the actual new development luxury listings that are out there. Second is going to be the pocket market. Now, there's not as many of them out there because legally, once you get a listing agreement signed, you have 48 hours to get it online. But there are sometimes maybe some private offerings, things like that, or honestly, even just sellers sitting at home wanting to sell but not being on the market yet that we or others may know about. Third is going to be the whisper market. Off-market opportunities, pre-construction, pre-development opportunities that you really need the relationships in the business to know about. Now, most luxury buyers, even the successful ones, but most luxury buyers treat buying in New York City like Miami, Los Angeles, or even London. They rely on internet searches, public listings, maybe even an agent referral. This is like trying to buy a Ferrari from a used car lot when you could access the factory floor. You know what I'm talking about. In Manhattan alone, there are over 15,000 luxury units that are priced over $3 million. But here's the thing, the best 500 or so barely even see the public market. They're secured through relationships, timing, and insider access. I mean, let's use 220 Central Park South as an example, shall we? That entire building, or at least I would say 90% of the building, was sold without ever going online. You had to know who it was. You had to offer proof of funds, a bio on who you were, if you even wanted an appointment to get through the door. You also have 50 West 66th Street. That one sold out 50% before it even went to market from the locals, relationships with the developer. He is quite amazing. Yeah, we have that relationship. Reach out. So what's the real problem? Well, there are three major blind spots that end up costing buyers hundreds of thousands. Problem number one is going to be information asymmetry. You're making a $1 million decision with incomplete data. So let's say you're trying to purchase that $4.8 million property in Hudson Yards, right? Maybe the listing doesn't mention that special assessment that's coming up next year. Maybe it doesn't bring up the tax increases because the building was just built and it hasn't been reassessed yet. Maybe it's not going to tell you about the construction that's going to be coming because there were permits filed next door. Or you may just not know, and why would you? This is not your full-time job. You may not know that a few doors down, this same view, same size, is in contract actually for 4.2 when it's maybe listed at 5 million. Wouldn't you agree all that information is absolutely going to go towards you getting the best value for that home? Yeah. Problem number two is going to be relationship poverty. Listen, luxury real estate in Manhattan is not transactional, it is relational, 100%. The best deals happen through connections with the developers, with sometimes the board, and of course with industry insiders. I mean, who you are in the brokerage community, who you have relationships with, how well you've taken care of other brokers on deals that you've transacted, how many transactions you've actually done, that all really matters. When you don't have these relationships, you're going to end up paying retail prices for wholesale opportunities. I'm actually going to tell you about someone. I have a client right now who I spoke to them about a beautiful new development on Billionaires Row. And I asked him, what do you feel about this one? And he said, you know what, Erin, I tried to put in a bid before, couldn't come to an agreement. I was like, okay, great. Walk me through that. What was that like? So he went there directly and he ended up getting 5% off. I'm not going to use his name because we're working on it right now. And I said, what if I told you I can probably get you 14 or 15% off the total? And he was like, that makes it more of the value, right? That brings the opportunity into a level where he feels comfortable. Well, the only reason why I know that is because of my relationships in the industry. right? We work together so that we can help everybody get a win-win at the end of the day, but they're not just gonna do that for everyone, right? They're gonna do that because they know that I'm gonna have their back in other scenarios. They know I'm gonna try and bring them more people, right? But so much relational. Problem number 3 is going to be process complexity. New York City luxury purchases involve co-op boards, condo boards, financial packages, legal complexities, local law 11, local law 97. Who knows what they're going to bring in next? And tax implications that vary dramatically by building and location. One mistake in your board package could mean rejection. One overlooked detail in due diligence could cost you 6 figures in unexpected expenses down the road. So the result, you could either miss out on your dream property entirely or overpay by, I don't know, $300,000, $500,000, or end up in a property that loses value because you didn't understand the market dynamics. Let me share with you what this actually looks like in real time with real examples. Sarah, a tech executive, she found her perfect $4.5 million Soho condo online. Seemed like a great deal. Now, she didn't know that identical units in the building that were asking that price were actually in contract for $3.9 million. So she ended up purchasing it and overpaying by $600,000. I mean, that is money that is never coming back. Now we have David. He had his heart set on a beautiful building in Sutton Place. Unit, about $4 million. Now, he ended up spending months going back and forth, went in, no broker, but he went into this, put together his board package, and he ended up getting rejected by the board. Now, when we ended up taking him on as a client and we were talking to him about the board package, it was very clear that he had little to no guidance. Things weren't in detail. They weren't matching up the financial statement to the bank statements. It was an absolute chaotic mess. And quite frankly, this board package to me is like your resume for the job of your dreams, right? You're putting together this resume. It has to look beautiful. You have to want that job to want you because of your board package, right? We want it to look so beautiful and effortless that they're like, oh my gosh, this person would be a dream if they moved into our building. Not, wow, this person doesn't know how to make one line match another line. When in reality, he was just really busy, and I don't think that his agent caught it. Then there is stress and time pain. I mean, I don't know about you, but most of our clients are out there working to make money, to live a beautiful life in the city. And when they're not working, they don't want to have to spend every hour doing all of this, right? That's why we come in and do it for them. I mean, most luxury buyers underestimate the emotional toll. You're talking about a very large investment, oftentimes, your future home, your family's future lifestyle. And when you don't have guidance, every decision becomes agonizing. Every delay costs money. Every mistake creates stress that just ripples through your work and your personal life. So in that case, the hidden cost isn't just money. It's the opportunity cost of having to settle for less than what you could have achieved with the right guidance. Now, let me paint a different picture of what happens when you have the right guidance and market analysis. Michael wanted an apartment in the West Village for $3.5 million or under. Now, we didn't just go on StreetEasy and browse the listings. Of course, we showed him everything that's available. But what we also did, because we are market experts, is we narrowed it down to about 4 buildings that had this size, views, because if you know anything about the West Village, you're not always getting a view, but 4 buildings that had this size and view that would match the price point for what he's looking for. So what did we do? We ended up mailing all of those buildings. Yes, we have someone who comes in and hand addresses all of those letters. We sent it out to the building. Now, the buildings. We ended up getting a total of 3 sellers who reached out and their properties matched what our client was looking for. Now, but he ended up choosing one. We were able to negotiate a deal. We found him what he was looking for and it wasn't on the market. We were just super proactive in our approach. But here's the best part. We structured the deal so that his property could close before the company's IPO, allowing him to use his current financial statements instead of post-IPO complexity. He saved multiple 6 figures by doing that with us because we were able to structure such a great deal since it never had to go on the market. And But months and months of stress, can't even imagine what that board package would have looked like if it was post-IPO. Or no, wait, let's talk about Jennifer. Jennifer needed to relocate here from London for her position at Goldman Sachs. Time was critical. Through our developer relationships, we were able to secure her a pre-construction penthouse in Brooklyn Heights. Now, I don't want to say this too loudly because they really did us a favor in letting us into this unit and letting us secure it without it going online, but I can tell you she definitely saved some six figures because I'm 100% sure it would have gone into a bidding war like all of the others. But again, those relationships, right? Who you know matters. So this is what happens when you have market access, relationship capital, and strategic guidance. You see opportunities that other people miss. You pay fair price instead of retail premiums. You make decisions with complete information, not just what online wants you to see. You close smoothly and as on schedule as humanly possible. And your investment appreciates faster because you bought fair on day one. The luxury buyers who succeed aren't just wealthy, they're strategic. They understand that in a market this complex, expert guidance isn't a cost, it's a high return on investment that you can make. If you're serious about a luxury purchase here in New York City, let's have a conversation. I'm offering a limited number of complimentary strategy calls this month for qualified luxury buyers. In our 30-minute call, we will analyze your specific requirements and timeline, current market opportunities in your target area, identify potential pitfalls specific to your situation, FERPTA, have you heard of that? And create a strategic approach that maximizes your investment. This isn't a sales pitch, it's a strategy session. You'll leave with clarity on your next steps, whether we work together or not. Now, to schedule your strategy call, you can click a link below or email me at, sure my email is popping up. Include your timeline, price range, and preferred neighborhoods so that I can make sure I am prepped as much as possible on my end. And don't be like the hundreds of buyers who have let incomplete information cost them hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. The luxury market rewards those who are more strategic. So let's make sure you're one of them. Now, thank you so much for watching Luxury Living NYC. I hope you found this valuable. And if you did, leave a comment below, send this to someone you think should be watching this. And of course, we at the WeLot team would always love to be your global real estate team of choice. Sign up for that strategy session. I look forward to talking to you soon. Bye, guys.